It was an unusually warm evening in the town of Toch, and everyone was outside. The smell of the street lights, which were powered by magic instead of electricity, hung in the air. The streets were full of people who were walking, talking, or just enjoying the night. In one of those conversations, a girl said that she wanted to make her own music. She told her friends that she would start writing lyrics and music right now. The friends who heard her words became curious about what kind of song she would create. The girl stood at the edge of the town with her guitar and pen in hand. She looked around the city and began to write a song. She wrote the first line, and it seemed like it had been written to someone she knew. But the girl did not know where this person lived or how old they were. It seemed like a very simple song for a girl who could sing and play the guitar. But she decided to write more words. When she had finished writing, she turned on the music player in her smartphone, which played a guitar riff from her favorite song. The girl looked at the song she had written on her smartphone and smiled. It was a simple song that anyone could sing. The song had only 4 lines, but each line was full of feeling. It felt like something she could share with everyone, not just a few friends. The girl began singing. The melody and lyrics flowed together into the song she had written, and the song reached its climax. It was not a sad song, but a song with hope. When she finished singing, she thought about the person she had written the song for. I wonder if she's still thinking about me. As she stood there, lost in thought, the girl noticed a strange thing. It was very rare for people to walk alone through this city at night. That was because this city was located next to an extremely large forest, which made it dangerous to be out alone. There was no light inside the forest. People could only enter it with a lantern or torch, so they stayed away from it at night. That was why it was so rare to see a person walking through the streets of Toch alone at night. As she watched, the girl noticed something else. There was a tall man, standing beside the girl with his back to her. He was holding something in his arms. He was wearing black clothes, which looked like they belonged to a ninja or a samurai. He was standing still and not moving. The girl was surprised to see a man dressed like that here. She looked at his back again, and saw that he was holding what seemed like a baby wrapped in blankets. She could tell it was a child because its face was small and soft, and there was a tuft of blonde hair sticking up on top of its head. She couldn't see its face very well, but she thought it looked like a girl. As she continued watching from behind him, she noticed that the man was moving very slowly. He was walking toward the city center. There was an empty lot with a few broken cars in it near the city center, and he stopped near there. The girl couldn't see what he did there, but it looked like he put the baby down and then walked away from there. Then the man turned around to look at the girl. She gasped as she saw the man's eyes. They were completely black, just like a monster's. She remembered the monster that had attacked the town. It had been huge and torn through the town, looking for people to eat. The girl felt terror creep into her heart when she saw the black eyes. The man approached the girl, and she quickly hid behind a nearby tree. She didn't know why, but she felt afraid of this man. She wondered if it was because she had written a song for him. The man looked around the area and then picked up a rock that was lying on the ground. He looked like he was about to throw it at the girl, but then he threw it at one of the street lights instead. Huh? The street light exploded into pieces as soon as the rock hit it. It sounded like fireworks going off all at once, and then all the street lights in the area exploded at the same time. The man turned back toward the girl, and the girl could see that he had a malicious grin on his face. The man reached out for her with his right hand, but then suddenly, he vanished into thin air. She gasped again and stared at the empty space where the man had been standing. What is going on? The girl could feel something hot running down her cheeks as she stood there, looking around for the man. She shook her head and tried to tell herself that it must have just been her imagination. But she couldn't believe it herself. She realized she was shaking, but she couldn't stop herself from crying. She ran out of the town toward the forest, hoping that maybe it had just been an illusion. As she ran, she looked around for any sign that the man was still there. But there was no trace of him anywhere. All she could see were the trees in the forest, and they looked as though nothing had happened. She wondered if it had been just a nightmare, and she didn't think it was possible that anything would happen in such a peaceful place.